and basically ended up having a messiah complex. Really fucked his head up, as you can imagine. Fuck. In need of a detox? Perhaps the new flesh is in need of a hail. Nucleonics in need of a home. Kevorkian in need of velvet? That was a stretch. God in need of... Way back in 1997, a bipolar Canadian by the name of Devin Townsend created an album of mind-warping heaviness. To this mind, anyway. Strapping young lad with City. Fuck. Welcome back to a long overdue classic album review. Been promising this one for a best part of 2 months. About time I got on with it. And it's an album that I absolutely love. City by Strapping Young Lad. Now this is the band's second album. The first album, Heavy Is a Really Heavy Thing, was released in 1994 and was pretty much a solo effort. Even though there were additional musicians on it, it was pretty much Devin who wrote and recorded the vast majority of it. There were additional musicians peppered throughout, one of which being a Mr. Jed Simon, who would play a very, very important role in Strapping Young Lad. Prior to Strapping Young Lad, Devin Townsend made his name by appearing on Steve Vai's Sex and Religion album. I think he was pretty well regarded, he's pretty well known as a vocalist, and but he did not, him and Steve fell out after a while. I think Devin kind of found himself being very childish and rebelling against the very regimented musicianship of Steve Vai and the guys that he was with. Though he did learn a hell of a lot from it. Devin's an amazing guitar player himself. After this, he had a brief stint in the Wild Hearts. I think it was for around 9 months. And while he found it being way too chaotic being in that band with one Mr. Ginger Wildheart, I think he really liked the song structures a lot more. The sort of poppy, punkier refrain of just actually doing something with a bit more emotion, a bit more feeling. I guess he kind of combined the two. There's a lot of technical elements on Strapping Young Lad mixed with those poppy, hooky choruses that you get from the Wild Hearts. Now, Heavy Is a Really Heavy Thing did not set the world ablaze by any stretch. Apparently it sold 114 copies in America in the first 2 years that it was released. And basically Devin found himself back in his hometown of Vancouver, Canada, washing dishes again in a restaurant with zero money and his future not looking too good. But he was suitably pissed off and full of piss and vinegar. After this, he made a move to LA where he worked in the Century Media offices, packing envelopes, sending out discs, I think, for mail order and shit. And he started writing songs on an ESP Explorer, a black ESP Explorer that was not dissimilar to the one that Hetfield was using on the Black Album tour. And this album was written at the same time as Ocean Machine, which is another great album. This would reflect the bipolar nature of Devin Townsend, which he still does to this day. Basically, all the heavy stuff ended up going on City and all the mellow stuff ended up going on Ocean Machine. Now, apparently Devin went to he was invited to go and see Fear Factory, who were actually supporting Iron Maiden at the time, and at the gig he bumped into one Gene Hoglan, the atomic clock himself. Turned out that Gene was actually a fan of Heavy Is a Really Heavy Thing, and as they were both drunk, Devin asked him if he'd like to play on the second album. And Gene said yes. Apparently he didn't remember any of this the next day, but Devin did hold him to his word, and indeed they started jamming. I think they pretty much knew they had something going right from the off. Shortly after this, Devin recruited Jed Simon and his good friend Byron Stroud, and you have the classic Strapping Young Lad lineup, and what a fucking phenomenal one it is. Such a great band. So how was it, 4 or 5 albums they did? I think they did about 4 albums as the classic lineup. If you haven't listened to Strapping Young Lad before, you're really in for a treat. Just a few more bits before we get into it. The album was recorded at Mothership Studios, which is Steve Vai's studio, and then the album was mixed at Dugout Studios with Daniel Bergstrand, who's also produced bands like Meshuggah and bands of that ilk. Apparently at the Dugout Studios, Devin and Daniel made a pact that they would not flush the outside toilet the entirety of the 2 weeks that they were there, and made a point of taking a shit in it every morning. So yeah, you can imagine things didn't end well. So, City. This album, along with Alien, is considered to be the band's best work, and rightly so. I remember listening to this when it first came out, and it genuinely did something to my brain. You know, those sort of albums you listen to where you're not necessarily sure it's good for you, but I was all right with it. It was like, I'm not sure this is good for me, but I'm all right with it. That's what you just said. That's what I just said. I just said that. I was also lucky enough to see the band live at Download 2006 as well, shortly before they split up. The whole point of the band was a big fuck you to the music industry. And I think Devon, after being on the Ozfest and doing a huge stage doing the huge Donington stage, I think he kind of thought, what the hell is this? It's kind of almost becoming a parody. And subsequently split the band up, which is a shame because they had some great stuff, although to be fair, The New Black, their last album, had some okay stuff on it, but it wasn't my favourite album of theirs by any stretch. Well, I have talked for way too fucking long, so let's get into the songs, and we'll start off with Velvet Kevorkian, which I'm still have no idea what it means. This is a brief intro with Devon telling us, "Can you believe this shit, people? All I need is this city and this mind and I will get by. Fuck sleep, fuck all of you. Yes, yes. But we can never look back because we'll never get a second chance. I like people who can take the pressure. Are you listening? Are you? Fuck you. A new time has come, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, welcome the fuck home." And then we go straight into All Hail the New Flesh, which is an amazing fucking song. This song kicks major ass and shows exactly the sort of musicianship that you can expect on this album. Absolutely phenomenal. We get this great riff from Devon and some phenomenal drumming from Gene Hoglan on the double bass, just showing you exactly why he's named the Atomic Clock. Such precision, so fucking good. Hey man, I'm gonna fuck this shit up. No fear, no compromise, I want it all. A statement of intent that still holds up today. It was pretty much a live favourite. And justly so. Just such a great song, just absolutely full on, heavy as fuck, well written, well produced, sounds absolutely phenomenal, still holds up today, great song. Next up we have Oh My Fucking God. Well gentlemen, a great deal of money has been invested in this project and we can't allow it to fail. After this, Gene kicks in with some insane double bass work, and one of the most insane songs I think I've ever heard. I'm not even going to bother reciting the lyrics. If you haven't heard this song, listen to this song, it's absolutely insane. The only other song that I've kind of heard that's similar to it is another strapping young lad song called Shitstorm on Alien, which is also phenomenal. I always loved the chunky riff that appeared on the chorus as well. Should have taken a bigger breath before doing that. I've still got no idea where that intro sample comes from either. I keep trying to find out what film or TV show or whatever it was that it came from, but yeah, I can't find it anywhere. Apparently there's some references to Batman Arkham Asylum, the comic. I think, yeah, where it talks about it talks about something. I should have written it down. I didn't. I remember researching it, but I didn't write it down. Oh, don't fucking judge me. Next up, we have one of my favourite songs of all time, Detox. Not only was this the first strapping young lad song I heard, this was the first thing I ever heard from Devon. Full stop. And what an intro it is as well. The opening riff to it is just instantly hooks itself into your brain. I believe this was written I was either during or about a bad acid trip where he found himself at the centre of the universe and basically ended up having a messiah complex. Really fucked his head up, as you can imagine. Oh, fuck. That one's going on the intro. Fucking hell, that hurt. Oh, I think everything's okay. If anything, it's actually loosened my hip a touch. Fucked my phone up. That's why you always have a case on, people. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, let's carry on with this then. Where were we? Yeah, it was about a bad acid trip. Or that might have been Oh My Fucking God, actually, now that I think about it. But either way, all of it had its time on this album. What the fuck am I talking about? There's a breakdown section in this song that occurs about halfway through that is without a shadow of a doubt one of my favourite parts of any song ever. I just love the riff on it. It's just so fucking catchy. Check it out, man. About 4 minutes in. How did I get here tonight? What am I doing here? How did I reach this state? How did I lose my sight? Fucking amazing song. Absolutely one of my standout, one of my favourite songs ever. Not just Strapping a Lad. Amazing song. Next up we have the amazing Home Nucleonics. This is an absolutely frenetic song. It's just so full on energy. I just absolutely adore this song. Heavy as fuck, and pretty much points out our reliance on technology. Technology will be the second coming, and it will hit us while we're looking for a man. Don't know what he meant by that last bit. An absolutely full on energy song, and the bridge section of the song goes in this proper gabba style beat and riff that is just absolutely fucking awesome. I love it. Next up we have Triple A, and this starts out with a really sinister, creepy, goth-tinged riff that if this appeared on a Marilyn Manson album it wouldn't sound out of place at all. Got a real industrial goth tinge to it, this song. I guess this is written from the perspective of being the outsider, being in with the wrong crowd maybe, or just being not fitting in, seeing things differently. I think we can all relate to that, guys. Divvy in the corner of his teen year, born to run away. Children in the middle with the village idiots, so we never made the party grade. Now maybe he pulled a little closer, cold in a mousy way. Boom boom as they came a little closer, put a bolt in the curse today. Now Devi has to eat it in his own way, broke in a dirty way. Boom boom is the beating that I hear in the night, but no one hears, so no one knows. And no one fucks with me. Fucking great song, this one. Next up we have Underneath the Waves. Bit more of a thrash aesthetic to this song. Some full-on riffage in this one, especially the bridge section. Just absolute full-on thrash riff. It's absolutely fucking awesome. Another standout track on the album, and another one about the mundanity of regular life and just wanting something more, and yeah, just wanting something more. Tired of waiting, I'm tired of fighting, tired of waiting for fucking nothing. I'm sick of lying, I'm sick of trying, tired of waiting for fucking nothing. Yeah, as I mentioned, the bridge section is just a truly heroic thrashathon. Absolutely love this song, phenomenal. After this we go into Room 429, which is a pretty faithful cover of the Cop Shoot Cop song of the same name, which is, well, that's what a cover is, dickhead. Up here in Room 429, the world ain't so unkind. I want to take you to that empty room tonight. Very industrial sounding, very heavy, just works so well. And that takes us into the final song on the album, Spirituality. This is a really creepy, atmospheric, industrial tinged album closer. There's lots of long drawn out power chords, industrial style drumming, and there's a lot of real nice ambience and textures that are provided by keyboards, while Devon tells us how sick of the world he is and of how fucking sick he is of people. Fuck yes, because I'm so fucking sick of all you sick, stupid people. Fucking great song and a great close to the album. It is worth mentioning that there were a couple of other songs that were recorded around this time, Japan and Centipede, both of which appeared on the No Sleep Till Bedtime live album that they did on this tour. And they're both great as well, but I'm not going to go into those just yet. And yeah, there you go, City, an absolutely classic album. Let me see, over fucking, what, getting close to 20, no, what am I on about? What was it, 21 years old now? And I still listen to this album on a pretty steady basis, still holds up today, still sounds great. I mean, great songwriting is great songwriting. This was Devin on top form before he pretty much had a fucking breakdown. He wrote this at the same time as Ocean Machine, and he also did Infinity, which was kind of seen as his triptych that he was doing at the time. And I think Infinity basically ended up pretty much putting him in a mental hospital. Definitely a guy who bleeds for his art and puts everything on the line. I've been a huge fan of Devin Townsend ever since. Strapping Young Lad, in my opinion, didn't do a bad album. The self-titled album was not received very well by a lot of people, but I think there's definitely some strong stuff on it. Devin wasn't a fan of it himself. But Alien, now that is an absolutely amazing album, and I will 100% be covering that album at some stage. When that'll be, I don't know, but that will definitely be happening. But yes, City by Strapping Young Lad. If you haven't checked this album out, you're in for a real treat, because this is an absolutely phenomenal album. And if you haven't heard it, you're missing out, so correct that, get on that shit. But there we go, plenty more to fucking come, and that was what it was, and now it's over. So